Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa Eddie almost survey finally out. Now in this particular video, Musa Dankwa Eddie come about a NPP leadership 2028. Why enable lead party no? Is it Canada, Japan, and Nasa Bawumia? Samson was heading come about a NDC 2028. Who to lead the party? Now NPP diano and as a war revealing and sebu honum etre nipakra just say a month for now moko buso monsem a year so view mokoye no nipakra or mopu no esusu se or no enebe.
Now the leadership race.
Okay.
Let's go to the next. Who is MPP? Here we know that voters don't elect flag bearers, but delegates do. But the views of Ghanaian voters matter in who you elect.
Okay.
You could go for your own. The final decision will be made by who? The ordinary voters.
Yeah.
If they reject it, you are in trouble. So it is good to have a perception of what is happening around the country to see whether you want to go against the public or you want to be with the public. When we ask them, who would you prefer to lead MPP in 2028? Bawumia, 5-6%. Kennedy, 23%. Yao Iduchum, 9%. Patrick Bawumia, he hasn't said anything yet, but he's on 4%. Brian Champon on 3%. The rest are on 5%.
But how did his name pop up if he hasn't said
anything? We work with speculations and expectations. Sometimes we throw names that could be in there that may not be in to see whether the public will look elsewhere.
So you threw.
We decide who to put in the race.
Okay.
Based on our judgment and other work we've done underground.
Okay.
To give us the people we believe should be on the short list. For now, MPP, this is what we have. Now, when that data is broken down into party affiliation, 70% of MPP voters said Bawumia.
Okay.
17 said Kennedy. 7 Educhu, 1 Bawumia, 3 Achampon, and 2% others. When you come to NDC, 50% of NDC people want Bawumia.
Okay.
26% want Kennedy, 10% Educhu, 4%. Look at the floating voters. You see, it's much closer there.
Yeah.
46 for Bawumia and 28 for Kennedy. It means that it's not as rosy in other blocks for Bawumia compared to its own base.
But it's still leading.
It's still leading.
Interesting.
Now, if you look at the numbers from last time, in April, DMB was 48%, Bawumia. He moves to what? 56%. Kennedy dropped from 25% to 23%, cup of 2. Yao Iduchum dropped from 12 to 9. Brian Champon 4 to 3. Bawumia wasn't there, is now on 4. And others dropped to 9%. So the gainers in this survey were Bawumia and Bawumia.
Yeah. Patrick Bawumia.
Now let's go to the let's say the next slide. I'll put that one. Next slide from the similar. The next one. Okay, here. Among MPP voters who went for Bawumia last time, 76% want him again.
Okay.
14 want Kennedy, 6 Educhum, 1% Bawumia, and 2% Achampon. For those who didn't tell us the party, the person they voted for last time, 31% prefer Bawumia, and Kennedy 66%. 2% Educhum. Now, for those who did not vote, but they are MPP people, they didn't vote, 41% want Bawumia and 40% Kennedy. So here it is much closer and much tighter among MPP voters who did not vote.
Not delegates.
Not delegates.
But voters.
Voters.
Who did not vote.
Yeah, who did not vote. Yes. Yeah, so let's go to next. Then you have the age bracket of the various candidates and where they are drawing their support from. Across all age groups, Bawumia dominates.
It's interesting then.
Yes.
Because earlier we said the one who conquers the youth, or because the Ghanaian youth, the Ghanaian voter is useful.
Yeah. So you must be able to win these age groups. And if you look at it here, he's doing very well among that age group. So if you want to compete strongly against him, you must look at this age group because there are no more older people in the population. So you must really have a message that resonates well with the youth who are going to vote and to decide.
But across all the age groups, Bawumia is doing
the problem is the demography of delegate does not reflect the population of the country. That's the problem, MPP has.
Okay. Okay.
So you must align the delegate numbers and see whether it kind of mirrors the general population. From what we have done, it doesn't.
But they also have 18, 24, 25, 34.
Among delegates of political parties, this number is.
And in this particular survey of a year, Musa Dankwa, a year Global Info Analytics, and watch him, a year Dr. Alhaji Mohamed Bawumia, a year former vice president, just was standing tall or stand a chance, say obey me LED, a year NPP 2028.
Very, very small.
Small, okay.
Very, very small. But people who are delegates are normally within this 35 and this 44.
Okay. Okay.
So the parties must begin to reflect what the youth, the population of the country is. Otherwise, they will be in trouble.
Okay.
You go and allow old men to elect, well, some age group to elect somebody for you, and that person may be rejected by the younger people. So you have to be very careful.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Right. I think let's go to the next NDC one. Look, let's stop here for a little bit. And there's a point I want to what do you call exception. Bawumia leads 54% among junior high, senior high 60%. Among tertiary, look, it is down 51%. That number needs to be higher because you need to be able to win more of the people with the very highest level of education. His number there is declining, and even among NPP voters, those who have tertiary education is coming down.
But can you say it's declining? You'd have to compare this to what it was, maybe say in April, before you can do that comparison. Not so.
We've seen that, but we've seen that.
Okay.
And even generally, if you look at the party affiliation, NDC, how many have junior high, how many have senior high, compare that like data, we are seeing a decline in people who are at least tertiary graduate who support NPP. Yeah, let's go to next. Let's go to okay, now we've broken the survey down into various modes. In the telephone poll, Bawumia led almost 57%, face-to-face 59%, online 23%. In the online, Patrick Bawumia led the online 27%. So he's more popular in the social media angles. Patrick Bawumia. He is yet to translate that into the field, and that is if he's going to contest. He must do more on the ground.
So
maybe he has not spoken anything. That's why.
So for the telephone survey you did, who led?
Bawumia led.
Face-to-face.
Face-to-face, Bawumia 59.4.
Okay.
Online 23. And then the average of that gives you the 56.2%.
Okay, but if you because the
sample size for this telephone and online were very small.
Okay.
This was nearly 8,000. The face-to-face 8,000.
Of the delegates.
No, of Ghanaian voters.
Ghanaian voters. Yes. Okay.
Now the NDC.
Okay.
Nobody has said anything. Nobody has given us anything. But in our own wisdom, we look at the NDC people and list whoever we think we can list. And we took a decision to take some people out for our own reason.
Okay.
To enable us to have a very good sense of where we are. If you ask them, who would you want to lead NDC in the 2028 elections? 27% of them said Haruna Idrisu, Minister of Education. Johnson Asedin Ketia, 26%. Dr. Ato Forson, 22%.
That's a tight race.
Very tight race. Julius Debra, 11%. Honorable Ablakwa, 8%. Zenato, 4%. And the rest of them, 3%. So all the names that you will be thinking about is part of the 3%. Now, if you look at among NPP, 23 want Haruna, 31 wants Mosquito, 20 prefer Atuforsin, Debra 13%, Ablakwa 5%, Ajiman Rollins 5%, and others 3%. Look at the NDC base. 30% Haruna, 24 Mosquito, 22 Atuforsin, 11 Debra. Look, the race is here.
Amongst the four?
Yes.
The four people?
Yes, the race is there.
Yeah.
This is there. And then among floating voters, you can see the numbers there as well. Floating voters are not 21%. Now, if you compare this data to what we did in April, you could see that Haruna has gone up from 25 to 27%. What happened in April, July or June, we dropped Jane Nana Opoku from the list.
Okay.
So her numbers begin to realign.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at Asiedu
The
Nketia,
biggest gainer is Asiedu Nketia.
yes, he's the biggest gainer in that decision to drop Jane Nana
improved by
Opoku.
100%.
Absolutely, from 13 to 26%.
Yeah.
Atufosin from 17 to 22%. Deborah from 8 to 11.
Okay.
Ablakwa suffered from 14 to 8.
Oh, he
now.
dropped.
And also Zenato dropped from 8.
What would have accounted for Ablakwa's drop?
No, you see, and that is the intelligence we have. You want to see what proportion of Jane Nana supporters will move. And if they move, where will they go to?
And they didn't go to Ablakwa?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
He even lost grounds.
Okay.
So these are the kind of insight we have that most people don't know we have.
Okay.
We can tell you what proportion went where, and from which region, and from which demography. All right, let's go next.
Quite interesting. We would have to wrap up here.
All right, okay.
But yeah, just wrap up with this.
I think what we are seeing in the NDC race is a generational divide.
Okay.
And we can see from this angle, if you look at people who in 2024 voted for John Mahama and how they are voting for the NDC primaries, you could see that the combined vote of Ablakwa, Zenato, Atufosin, and Haruna accounts for 65% of John Mahama's voters.
Oh, okay.
Entiano NHS Musa Dankwa ne poor abeto mountain global info analytics omode nsam abeto mountain concerning NPP leadership 2028 any NDC for leadership 2028 achasa uhema Haruna Idrisu ewo enim ewo NDC part sanso ena Dr. Alhaji Muhammad Bawumia enso wo enim on the side of NPP aha Dowona TV chwadwen ewo comment section.